The proper study of mankind is man, rightly said. The proper study of mankind is man, and to enhance this vocabulary, it is the Greek mythology which is adding a new flavor, a new spice in your life. This is the last class for the vocabulary section of mythology, and then we'll be turning up to the inferences of the passages. The students have always been asking that something afresh for the class section, and so the fulfilling the demand of the students, we'll be coming up with inference drawn passages. Beginning with today's class and a recap and the final go for the idioms and phrases and words and stories. For the Greek mythology, the first one soap to Cerberus, the second one between Scylla and Charybdis, and the third one beware the Greek spearing gifts. Then we did was Caesar's wife, an eye which was total destruction. Then cleaning the Augean stable, something which is in a very bad, messy situation, and you make it beautiful and wonderful. Crossing the Rubicon, cutting the Gordian knot, we have to begin from here. Now pay attention. Cutting the Gordian knot is you attack a problem directly and you try to solve it boldly. You attack over the problem directly and you try to solve it boldly. Exact idiom for this. Another one. Take the bull by the horns. That means you attack a problem boldly and courageously and face it also boldly. The Greek mythology, Gordius was a legendary king of Pygros in Asia Minor. He dedicated his chariot to Zeus. The pole of the chariot was fastened to the yoke by a thong tied to an inextricable knot. Inextricable means very difficult to open. The oracle declared that whoever untied the knot would rule all Asia. When Alexander passed through Gordium, he did not try to untie the knot by ordinary means but cut it through his sword. Alexander the Great was always the man for a simple, direct solution. So this was a Gordian knot. You have a problem and you attack the problem boldly and directly. This is cutting the Gordian knot. You have a problem and you attack over the problem boldly and courageously. In life we have to cut the Gordian knot many times. Next word is very important, and this is important for your tone of the passage too. You will find it one of the choices in the tone of the passage. Cynical is a negative approach of life. You see the dark shades of life only. That is cynical. Cynical person is one who constantly finds faults, that is picking holes. Distrusts the motives of others and has little faith in the noble aspirations of humanity. The synonymous words to cynical may be, please note, first one, sneering. In fact, this is the first one. This should be the second one. The third one is cynical. This is fourth one, constantly finding faults. The fifth one, distrust the motives of others. And then we have the seventh one, that is sneering. Eighth one, captious, please note, captious. The ninth one, cavilling. 10th one, carping. Most of the students, and especially the offline students, must be aware of it. Then 11th, censorious. 12th, pessimistic. 13th is disbelieving or unbelieving. And 15th, misanthrope. You must be wondering, misanthrope, or you could take it picking holes. Misanthrope is a person who hates mankind, right? Mis is not, and anthrop is man. So misanthrope is a hater of mankind. So cynical is a person who has negative approach of life. No, it's not always the same. It is somebody who does not trust others, who doesn't believe in the motives of others. That is cynical. Now we have a story behind it, the cynical one. The Cynics are the school of philosophers in Greece who taught the value of self-control and independence. Some of the disciples showed their independence to such an extent that they expressed contempt for ease and wealth and disbelieved any decent motives in men's action. Dionysius, one of the most famous cynics, is said to have despised the ordinary comforts of life to such a degree that he lived in a tub in the marketplace. Lived in a tub in the marketplace. In the same marketplace, he went about with a lantern in broad daylight, looking for a man, or some say for an honest man. Dionysius had so little faith in the honesty of mankind, he had no faith, that once when he saw officials of a temple leading a thief who had stolen a sacred bowl, he commented, "The big thieves have caught the little ones." Cynic is related for the word dog. The people of Athens called the philosophers of this sect cynics because of their snarling attitude. So anybody who has a habit of picking up holes and finding faults in somebody is called cynical. We usually use it in tone of the passive, cynical. Most of the mother-in-laws in India are cynical by nature. If you are cynical, you will not be liked by others. Or simplified, the plus adjective, the cynical are not liked by others. The cynical, that is the plus adjective plus plural verb. So, the cynical are not liked by others. Right? Moving on to our last of this, that is draconian. From the word draconian laws, draconian things, Draconian is the laws or the government actions which are unreasonably severe. They are too strict, going beyond what is right or necessary. Of course, they are, in fact, as I was talking of, that they are too severe, they are too strict. They are in fact autonomous and autocratic by nature. No, these are very, very strict laws. Nobody in democratic India would love to have draconian laws. The sentence I've already made before explanation. Look up at the explanation here. In 7th century BC, Draco was an Athenian lawgiver whose code of laws established in 621 BC. Called for the most severe penalties for the smallest offense. So the people used to do small little problem, they used to charge them highly. His laws were said to be written not in ink but in blood. Underline, not in ink but in blood. Synonymous words to draconian is severe. Please underline, stern, rigid, stringent, cruel, rigorous, harsh, imitable, and drastic. A person who lives very, very strict laws is draconian. As I said, in Indian democracy, nobody likes draconian laws. Democracy, where there is democracy, government of the people, by the people and for the people, will draconian laws be welcome? No, not at all. Because they are more of despotic, autocratic, authoritarian by nature. Right? Now we come to the exercise which you're going to do, and I'll give you a minute to do so, beginning with the first question. Please write your answers quickly. I'll be waiting for it. I hope you have done that. I just got aside for this reason only, so that you don't face a problem related to it. Let's begin with the first one. When you can't change the things as you desire, there's no other way than throwing. You have to accept that this is the system. We have to give bribe. Without this, things won't work. So you have to throw, yes, right, a soap to surplus. He criticized the dash measures taken by the police in controlling the demonstrators. Now the police is taking what kind of measures? Demonstrators, because he's criticizing, so they are not good measures. So very strict laws. The last one we did, draconian measures, right? Draconian measures. Don't give any heed to his dash statement. He's making something which you should not pay heed. Heed means attention. That means these statements are, yes, these statements are cynical. Post shipwrecked, that means after the ship was destroyed, the sailors suddenly found themselves dash. Where did the sailors find them? So you're stuck between two situations. They can't do what, they don't know what to do. Their hands tied. They are, bound to do things. So they found themselves shipwrecked. So between Scylla and Charybdis. The Prime Minister has taken to dash by deciding to dissolve the cabinet. So what is he doing? If he is dissolving the cabinet won't be there. So in that case, it is something which is like, what it will be? Cutting the Gordian knot. I repeat the first one. The first one is a soap to Cerberus. The second one we have taken that is draconian. The third one is cynical statement. The fourth one is between Scylla and Charybdis. And the fifth one is cutting the Gordian knot. Let's take the last one, the 6 to 10 series on this. Again, I get aside so that you can mark them out. The sixth one, his proposal of working unconditionally alarms me of what? What does it alarm you? Of his working unconditionally. So beware the Greeks bearing gifts. Having dashed, there's no point of his retreating. There's no use, he's moving back. So having what? What has he done? Having crossed the Rubicon. Having, you have to make it in the ED form because having plus V3 is perfect participle. Having crossed the Rubicon. I would better be guilty, remove this A, guilty of a crime, than be accused of being. If I am doing something, I should not be accused of being, yes, who was accused? Caesar's wife. I shouldn't be accused of Caesar's wife. Please cut this off. This was a mistake. Government's resolution of removing corruption from the bureaucracy is no less than removing corruption from Indian bureaucracy is just like cleaning the organ stables. It's so dirty the place. And the last one, not the least, one should dread to tread the path of cunning. Right? I hope you've marked every one of them. The sixth one, I do repeat the answers once so that this is crystal clear to you. The sixth question, that is beware the Greeks bearing gifts. The seventh question, crossing the Rubicon. Eighth question, Caesar's wife. Ninth question, cleaning the organ stables. And 10th is cunning. This completes our series for the mythological words, and we'll be coming with the inference series from tomorrow. Right, students? Please do like and subscribe it. Thank you.